Hey everybody, this is Pastor B with Tuesday's Touch for September the 29th, and we have been looking at the life of Joseph. We last left Joseph in prison, but while he was physically in prison, spiritually and mentally, he was doing pretty good. He had been given authority in prison, he was prospering behind bars, and he had made a name for himself amongst the guards and the inmates. And he was using his gifts of interpreting dreams to help people while he was in that difficult place. If you can remember, Joseph had interpreted the dreams of the baker and the cupbearer of the Egyptian king, and had asked them to remember him when they got out. He said to the Egyptian cupbearer, "You're going to be elevated back to your original spot," but he said to the baker, "Your head is going to be elevated off your shoulders." And it happened just like that. Joseph only asked after he interpreted their dreams that they would remember him when they got out and maybe help him to get free because he was in prison for a crime that he did not commit. But they didn't remember him, of course. The baker died as Joseph had predicted from the dream, and the cupbearer, he got back to his spot, but he didn't remember Joseph. He forgot that Joseph had helped them out. Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever helped somebody with the assumption that they would remember you when they got free or when they got their problem fixed, but they didn't? Has someone ever been elevated or blessed or benefited from something you did for them, but never acknowledged it or never gave you anything back for it, never returned the favor when they had the opportunity to do so? It's happened to me, and I can tell you that it's quite painful. Once I heard from a friend whose child was having a problem getting into a particular school in our community. She thought that because I was in relationship with the principal, both of us were community leaders, that I could possibly help the person to get in school, that I could help the child get into school, just make a phone call to the principal. And I did, and it worked, I'm assuming, because the child got a call later saying that they had been admitted to the school. But later on, I asked her to use her expertise to help me with something, and she charged me a fee that was so crazy, I almost freaked out. I mean, I just assumed that she would give me a break because I had done that for her. I'd helped her child out. I assumed that she would give me a pass, but she didn't. And I learned a valuable lesson in that moment, right? And that lesson was when you do good for people and expect them to return that good to you, you may be setting yourself up for disappointment because people will forget you. But if we focus on God and discover that we do good to people because God has already been good to us, then we're fine. So here's the takeaway, right? You should never give to people or do for people expecting gain from them. Instead, our giving to others is already payback, is really payback for what God has already given and done for us. And believe you me, if God doesn't do anything else, if God stops right now and does not bless you anymore to this moment and point in your history and in your life, God's already done more than you can pay God back for, friends. So the good we do is always a response to God's goodness already given to us, not so people will pay us back. Again, Joseph was forgotten by the cupbearer, but God brought to his memory through some odd circumstances what Joseph had done. The Egyptian king had a dream, and the cupbearer said, "Wait a minute, I know a guy. He might be able to interpret your dream, king." We'll pick up there next week. This is Pastor B, Tuesday's Touch for September the 29th from St. James Presbyterian Church on James Island in Charleston, South Carolina. Hey, I want to thank everybody for coming out, those who could come to our outdoor worship service on Sunday. It was a blast. The Lord really blessed. Not only did the Lord give us good weather, but we had good fellowship, a good time together. I also want to invite each of you, those who are parents and guardians, grandparents even, to our seminar, which is on October the 2nd, called Parenting in the Pandemic. We have a panel of educators and elementary, middle, and high school educators, also some psychologists and some counselors, who who are going to give us some tips as to how we can help our children not just survive, but thrive during this pandemic, academically and emotionally. So make sure that you click the link below so that you can register for that. Again, you won't get the Zoom link unless you register, so make sure you do that. And there's also an opportunity when you register for you to put a question in that you might have. And I finally want to remind our congregation that the work of justice still moves on with St. James. And there will be a house meeting for our church sponsored by the Charleston Area Justice Ministry that's going to be via Zoom. So look down below and you'll see the details for the house meetings that are coming up. There'll be one on Saturday and one on Sunday. These things are extremely important, so please make sure you're present as we press forward with the work of justice. Your team leaders will be connecting with you and reaching out to you team members so that you can be present for these house meetings. And again, the details are below. Finally, I just want to say, again, that tomorrow is the last day for our month-long prayer calls. Many of you know we've been gathering together at 6:30 in the morning every morning and at 9:15 at night, reading scripture via conference call and praying together via conference call. And I want to thank all the leaders who participated and helped to make that possible. It was a wonderful time. It'll be coming back at strategic times when we need to seek the Lord as a congregation, but tomorrow's our last night. So thank you all for participating in that. This is Pastor B with Tuesday's Touch for September the 29th. God bless you. We love you, and you have been touched.